Hello?
Hello, this is Chris Igoe with Remax. I'm giving you a call. I noticed your property listing was canceled in the MLS. I was curious, how on earth did the property not sell?
To be quite honest, I think a little bit with Realtors
Mm,
that I actually had with me for the second time, and but it's not all their fault. It's just, sometimes it's the luck of the draw. So just didn't make it through the season. It should have sold easily. It's below market value as far as the cost.
yeah,
In any part of the neighborhood, the house is in excellent condition. It might be a two-story and that the master is upstairs. Sometimes those are some of the issues that some of the folks in this area, because it's kind of a retirement community, kind of not. There's some young people moving in, but I'm like one of two other two-story houses. Most are ranch styles.
right. Yeah, I actually know Deer Creek, and just so you know, I'm very familiar with South Florida. I'm calling you from Boynton Beach, but I've lived in Deerfield Beach. I think my phone comes up with a different. I don't know why it comes up with whatever. Does it come up with Riviera Beach or something like that?
No, I actually came up with Boca Raton.
Oh, it did. Well, thank God. I've been working with I've been working with AT&T to try to fix that. But it was coming up with something crazy where I've never even been there before. But okay. So look, there's three reasons I found why properties don't sell. The first one is price. Okay. The second is condition of the property, and then third is the way the property is marketed. So it looks like you were on the market for about 156 days before it was canceled. Did you have any offers on the property?
Yeah, I had three offers.
Okay.
One at $595, another one at about the same price, $599. I think it was the original offer,
Hmm.
and then just recently was $580 at a condition that his realtor, I guess, was taking a hit, bringing it up to $585 as far as the actual real cost.
Hmm.
So, and we've had let's see, three inspections, and the last inspection said they revealed two roof leaks, which actually don't exist. It's been raining for 10 days. A guy goes up there, decides to put a moisture meter on the plywood that's up above, and I haven't even seen where it is. They haven't provided me the inspection report, which I've asked for now for like 4 days. I
Hmm.
still don't have it. Maybe the buyers refused to give it to me, but he backed out of the contract is what he did,
Hmm.
claiming that the HOA docs were not to his standards, which the HOA docs in here are like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but anyway, you know how that works. They can get out any time they want to.
Sure.
Okay, so, you have to sign it over, you take your money and run. But this one was misrepresented by my realtor completely, and the buyer walked into the house having never seen it. Although the realtor didn't decide to tell me that, and the daughter of the realtor had come by, and that's the one they had showed the house to previously. It's just a joke, but anyway, I have a realtor who likes to put the thing on the listing and said, "I hope somebody brings a buyer by." And
Hmm.
that's pretty much what I feel how it existed. But that's that's just the way I feel now. But
Yeah. So let me ask you
so
this. Because, look, so just so you know, I'm with Remax Direct. We've got 6 offices down here in South Florida. We've sold 15,000 homes since 2008. We're averaging one a day. If you knew absolutely for certain that by doing business with me, two things would happen. One, the property will sell. Two, you'll end up with significantly more money, bottom line, than any other way. I know that's a big promise, but would you at least want to hear more about it? Be honest.
Well, of course. I mean, very familiar with real estate. I work for Styles Corporation, one of the largest developers of realty people that are in the South Florida. But
Oh, I
that's
know
commercial real
Styles.
estate.
Yep, I know Styles very well.
Yeah, I've been with them for 15 years, and and of course, this is residential personal property,
Hmm.
but my own personal property. I'm a director there at Styles, and have been for 15 years.
Nice.
What I've tried to explain to the realtor companies is that, look, I understand the process. I get it. I'm willing to pay whatever the percentage that we agree upon. I have no problem with that. All I ask is that you really, truly marketed the property.
Hmm.
And I even interviewed these last folks, so apparently I'm a pretty bad interviewer because after I interviewed them, I figured that they could do as kind of a mother, a son, and a daughter team that worked for Remax, actually, for what is it? What do you call it? Park. It's in Coral Springs.
Park Creek. I know. I know
anyway,
Park Creek. Yeah, it's Park Creek, right?
And so Park Creek, right? One of my good friends actually is the broker for Remax down in Hollywood, which is Johnny DeMarco, and he's been down there for a long time. So what I was trying to get was somebody who understood Deer Creek. I've had it listed with Campbell and Rosemary before, and one of the guys there did a good job. It was Dean. He did a wonderful job for me when we first started, and never could come to an agreement with anybody he brought to the property, but he tried really hard, I think. One of their other associates they had was an older lady, pretty old lady, that didn't even show up for some of the showings we had. And we gave it to her to do it because she was supposed to be the queen of Deer Creek. I forgot her name right now. Teeny Sheehan.
Yeah.
And so she had it for a little while. And the only people I've not listed it with that are around here are the folks at Deer Creek Realty, which is up at the top. We've brought a couple of buyers by before. And but that's it. So it's been listed with Campbell Rosemary for several times with various people inside Campbell Rosemary, and then with the Remax people that I've had now for 2 different times, who's had it for 2 different 6-month contracts. So, you know, anybody would say, well, why doesn't it sell? Which is what you asked me to start with. Sure. I'm as confused as anyone else. If you come in my house and you walk my house and you look at it, you'll say, wow, nicely renovated, beautiful home. You know, one group told me, oh, well, the master bedroom's upstairs and just, you know, we're not going to be able to hard sell your house because of that. I'm like, seriously? Okay, well, how did you market the house? You market to retirees? Maybe they don't want that, you know, so I'm not sure. I mean, I would really like to know that question myself, and it can certainly be answered. One time we had a buyer, and then the buyer didn't, the one inspection people that they had was on vacation or something. So they got somebody brand new they had never used, and there was a couple of gay ladies who came up to do the inspection, and it was horrible. And this lady goes, oh, you might have structural damage. And I went, what are you talking about? I've been in construction all my life, and I'm going, what are you talking about? And so it scared the people off. And what all it was is, you know how you have stucco? This is a stuccoed home, and it's a trial brick look, okay? And over time, you'll get stress cracks, or just, they're not really stress cracks, they're really weather cracks, okay? They have to deal with, you know, the hot and cold. Every stucco home that I know of will have some sort of crack somewhere on the outside where they're getting hot and cold, and you'll find a crack in it. So she actually took a picture of that and told the people that it might be structural damage, which set me off like crazy. But they wouldn't listen, see? So I had to go, and I got one of my folks, one of the largest structural people, and I had them sign and seal that there's no structural damage to this home, okay? Which I've had to do that now. And it's because of the terrible folks that have come by here who've tried to do these inspections. I've had a couple of really nice inspections, you know, and it's fine. They cite all the little general stuff that happens. And, you know, it's a tile roof system, been up there about 10 years. You're going to have some sort of little seepage in tile after it's been up for a while. It doesn't leak on my roof and the ceilings in my house. None of that. I've never had one of those before. But if a rip-off tile on any building, any house, anywhere, it's been up there for 10 years, you're going to find a little spot of seepage on a board. And if you go up there and look, I want to put my moisture meter after it's rained 8 days. And by the way, it was still raining the day they came out here. You're going to go, oh, you have 2 roof leaks. I'm like, give me a friggin' break, right? So I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm all about that. I haven't understood it other than I've accepted the fact that I'm in a kind of a retirement community with a 2-story house, and maybe that's difficult to sell because the master bedroom's upstairs. That what I would say would be the only detriment. You know, would make it difficult to sell because of the location of the house, the community that it's in. I accept that. So
well, I can answer some questions for you real quick. So there's a reason why you've had less success than you should have. They're obvious things to me. First one is you are in the Miami MLS. That is how your house is listed. You're not in the you're in the wrong MLS for this to sell. Period. Meaning it's not It's not syndicating all the places that it should be. It's also not marked as any broker can advertise, which means it will obviously, look, you want your home sold, you want to be in front of the most amount of potential shoppers looking for properties. If it's put into the MLS the correct way, it will syndicate everywhere. Now, if that's so, you're at a strategic disadvantage for two reasons. One, you're in the Miami MLS. Two, it's not set to any broker advertise. So it was totally mismarketed from the jump, at least on this second or the most recent listing that you've had. That's number one. And that's a big deal. So that's number one. Number two.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, well, look, this is what I do all day long, and I diagnose these problems instantly. So it's the first thing I look for when I see a property like yours, because you've got a beautiful home. Now, what you just described in terms of the roof situation is normal wear and tear. One of the things that we could do now, do you have an inspection report, or you just have what they said? They said there, because it's funny. I just had I've got a property up in West Palm that I'm selling that's under contract. We just had the inspection too, and they came back with the same thing. The moisture reading in the wall is high. Well, what they don't know is I had the property inspected before we actually put it on the market, and we don't have that. We have no evidence of that. But we have reigned for like. We've reigned for, so it's a tactic, right? They're trying to get a better price, which I respect, I get. It's part of the game. But at the end of the day, I have proof in my hand that it doesn't exist as of about a month ago. Well, we did just have a month of rain. It's been raining like hell down here. So, okay, there's some moisture. So fine, you know what? If there is, because at the end of the day, look, if you have a real moisture situation within your walls, then you also want to know that you don't have, I mean, that's the fast track to mold. If it's real and, you know, whatever. So I'd like that information. So all I asked them was, okay, well, you know, I forwarded them my inspection report, and I asked them to, do the same. And if there's an issue, we'll certainly address it. And all that turned out to was, well, what we'd really like is a credit. So we ended up negotiating out. We ended up negotiating out of the situation. But there, you know, one of the first things I would ask you to potentially consider is maybe doing a pre-listing inspection, just so you know exactly what it is that you're looking at and whether it's real or not. And we've certainly got the.
I think that's a good suggestion. Let me tell you the story on the second. Well, we have three of them. So
okay.
The second one, I have the one from the two girls that came out and did it, who tried to obliterate everything they could possibly do, and why anybody would hire these people to do anything is beyond me. But nonetheless, this last inspection, my term was up with this Remax group that I had here, and as a matter of fact, it really wasn't up until the 31st. But my realtor and I had a disagreement over what I'm about to tell you. Okay, so what I asked for, obviously the guy gets his money back. He did it. He canceled in time to do what he needed to do, and I get that.
Right.
What I asked for was the inspection report.
Yep.
You know, he said it didn't meet his standards. So I said, would you please forward me a copy of the inspection report, and I'll sign the release of the dollars and go back to you.
Yep.
Okay, so obviously I have to do it anyway. I get that. But I said, normally you provide me the inspection report. Okay, you're out of it. No big deal. Release each other. Just give me a copy. He's refused to do so.
Right.
Okay. So I tell my realtor, please call them back and say, hey, look, out of general ethics and kindness, would you please refer, because if you saw something I don't know about, it will help me. Please let me have it.
Right.
And so the realtor said she made the call. I'm not certain that she really did. And because she really was remiss, and I could think for other things, and I won't bore you with that. You just brought up one of the marketing issues, but that's what was my problem with them. They didn't market the house very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the realtor sent me back and canceled my MLS that you saw on her own now. I haven't signed any papers. She just canceled it. And I'm due up for the 31st. We're supposed to go all the way to the 31st. So I didn't think she'd just take me off the MLS just because she feels like it, because that was her obligation to put it on there. I haven't signed any release yet, because that's not done for another week or so.
Right.
So I don't know how that really works. I I don't really care, but the point of that's the kind of reaction I got from a realtor. She also didn't work for me, for the buyer and the other real estate agent. So now I'm going to call a real estate agent on the other side, the buyer myself today, and ask him with all gentleness and kindness to please ask the buyer to release that to me, and let's not have any issues. We don't have to. Why won't you do it? It's not helping you. You're not going to buy the house. I'm releasing you from it. Just please let me have the inspection report.
So here's the language I would use. I'm going to give you some language to use because it might help you. So they don't. So at the end of the day, and this is a real pain in the rear end too, and I've struggled with this in the past. They don't have to give it to you. The way I would approach it with them is say, look, these are now, and this might work for you, and it's worked for me. Is these items that you've pointed out, or at least that you brought to my attention, are now disclosure events as it relates to the property. So I want to take care of them. So we have a responsibility here to get this information. Would you please help me? And that's just the way I would broach it, because the reality of it is, if the other agent wanted to, and by the way, most agents down here are terrible. I'm just going to be honest. It's so easy. It's so easy to get a license, and it's so easy to be part-time or half-assed or whatever, that you got a lot of people. You got to separate the wheat from the shaft. But
no doubt. This girl Mindy, working for Remax, is the daughter of the woman who's been there forever. And yesterday she rakes me over the coals on the phone. Now I'm going to see my grandchildren, and she insists. She keeps calling. You got to call me. You got to call me. Finally, I told my wife, I said, look, I'm going to see my grandchildren. She responded to that. She kept calling anyway. So finally I said, give me the phone. I'll talk to her. And I could not even speak. She kept ragging on me the whole time about I need to sign these documents and I could be sued and all this stuff. And I was saying, look, I understand all that. All I want you to do is work for me. Who are you working for? Right. And then I complained about her bringing the people to the property who'd never seen it. You lied to me about that. You didn't provide the HOA documents they requested like 5 days ago for us, that they requested through you, and you didn't even provide them. And that was one of the reasons they got upset, because they couldn't get the documents till the day of the inspection. Mm-hmm. So there was a real issue with her, and it was a part-time thing. And then she turns around to tell me, well, we're selling this home at top dollar. Now, I can assure you there are houses right beside me. One sold for $790, another down the street for $700, another down the street who got remodeled and was bought at a lower because it hadn't been remodeled at $630, another at $610. And so I said, I know where the market is, and I'm selling it at $585. I know where I am. It's certainly, it's $580, right? And I'm certainly not top dollar. I reduced it, as you just said. The first thing to sell a house is price. Right. I get that. And so I reduced it to sell, and you guys had the listing, and you couldn't sell it even at that price. Yeah. And I understood that. The second part was, the condition of the property. I get that. Come and look at it. You'll see the condition is immaculate. Yeah. How can you not sell it? And you're coming up with some of the reasons why. Sure. So I wrote to the broker this morning, actually. I don't know the gentleman's name, but I wrote to him, and I said, gave him the little specifics and details about his agents. And I said, it's a code of ethics. I don't know whether they're members of the National Board of Realtors or not. I said, but in essence, it's a code of ethics. They haven't followed some of those already. And I could easily make a complaint to the Department of Professional Regulation. I don't really want to do that because, that's a whole gamut of forms and, vested gas crap. It's not that they have done anything so egregious to do that. Right. It's just that I was misrepresented. Right? So, that's my dilemma. So I wrote that to the guy. I said, look, be careful about how your agents are representing you as a broker and what they're doing, and then you're not communicating well with the client, or at least they haven't done it with me. Right. So, and that was all I wrote to him. I said, please give me a call. We'll rectify the situation pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So, in essence, I'm just going to go ahead and call him, and I love your suggestion. I think I use those words because people always want to help you if they can. Sure. And that's the way to handle stuff. I totally agree. Be kind, be nice, do the things we learned in kindergarten, and that's what I try to do, is to be communicative about it. So you can tell just by my voice, I'm a little tired and frustrated in trying to sell a house for probably almost now really about 2 years. I've tried to sell the house. but I wasn't in a position where I had to sell the house because I was in dire straits or there was some issue. I didn't need a fire sale. And so it's like these realtors got upset because I wouldn't sell it at a fire sale. You know?
Right.
And I got really upset about that. And so why don't you market the property appropriately? And I've had various offers. And so I agree with the idea. So I'll fix anything in the property that needs to be fixed relative to the sale. I have no problem with that. Obviously, that's my responsibility.
Right.
So for the love of God, I would love to see a realtor that actually is a realtor, like that term is supposed to define, who actually markets the property appropriately, actually shows up for the showings, you know, comes ahead of time and gets the property ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd have the buyers here before they would ever get here, and I'd have to entertain the folks because they'd be late. Oh, sorry, I'm going to be 15, 20 minutes late. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So I've got good news for
Right,
you.
so we opened the house and did it ourselves. You know, we turned on the lights. We did all the stuff. You know, we did it prior to, before they ever came over. It just got to be a real terrible fiasco where I had to do all the work and they were claiming the money. So,
Well, that's a sweet deal for them.
Yeah, so I'm frustrated about it. And here's what I was going to do. I mean, in all honesty, I'm sure that once the closing goes out, realtors get all the information. They're going to be calling. You're the first guy who actually called me. Oh, Tricia's, my wife, is saying there's a bunch of calls on her phone. But nonetheless, I'm getting ready to go over to another piece of property I'm buying over both Grand today.
Okay.
And that's where I'm headed to.
Nice.
And what I was doing, I have friends, and I've already called one of them. I said, look, why don't you just list the property for me? I'll sell it myself. You can put it on the MLS. The reason I listed it with people that I thought I'd get a better market representation by local folks that are going to my friends to say, why don't you list it for me, which I could have easily done, which I may do now. I haven't decided it, but I may do this. And say, look, you list it, put it on the MLS, have them call my phone, and I'll deal with it. I'll go to all the showings and all the people come by here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll make a deal with them, and then I'll say to all the other real estate agents, if you bring a buyer, I'll pay you 5%.
Right.
You know, and say, okay, you don't have to list it, but if you bring me the buyer, I will pay you 5% instead of the typical 3% that you're going to get, or some other reduced fraction. You know, that's fine with me. So that's kind of where I am. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
I'm Chris. My name is Chris Igoe.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris. Okay. That's where I am now. You can talk me out of it. It's not that I'm done it yet, but I'm on the fence of doing that. And I'm willing to say, hey, Dave, here's your best spot. Here's why I think it's probably not a good idea to do that or whatever. I'm certainly willing to listen. And I know you're probably getting more of an earful than you thought you were going to get from you.
No, I love it. This is very helpful.
It just happened. And so, but I'm being completely and openly honest with you that what the situation is, where we are, what I'm thinking about doing. So you're not wasting your time on the phone. I realize you're trying to get folks who are working just like I do.
Yeah, sure.
And I want people to be straight and open and honest with me. That's all I care about.
Well,
so that's where I am with you. I mean, I'm open to your ability to do what your job is, your professional ability to sell and all that. I'm open. I don't do that on a daily basis, so you guys know that better than me. But yes. I get it. You know, I get the process.
Good. Well, look, I absolutely appreciate you being so candid with me and spending the time. It is very helpful. I can tell you this, I do business completely different than anybody else out there, and it really does virtually guarantee you two things, which is number one, your home will sell, and two, you're going to end up with significantly more money, bottom line, than you could get any other way, with or without an agent. That's just a fact. What I'd like to do is run an analysis on your property as it relates to price. I'll email that to you. What is your best email address?
All right, it is David.Lowry, Lowey,
yeah,
at Styles, STILES.com. David.Lowry at Styles.com.
Okay, perfect. So what that will do, it's obviously we'll both be fluent in speaking the same language as it relates to price. I think you're priced right, to be very candid with where you're at now. But I also know that you weren't fully syndicated everywhere. You're in the wrong MLS. They didn't do professional pictures. They didn't do a professional video. They didn't do a 3D Matterport tour. And I can guarantee you they did, and this is where I'm different than everybody else, they absolutely did not use the algorithms that are out there to syndicate, because every full-time professional realtor, except the ones that you've chosen, are going to put, I suspect, are going to put it in the MLS the right way. And they're going to syndicate it to where it should be syndicated, which will help you. What I do over and above that is I get my marketing in front of active shoppers that are looking for properties just like yours, internationally as well as everywhere in the country. So, and that is my niche. That is where I am head and shoulders better than anybody else out there, is getting it. Now, I'll be honest, I don't necessarily get I wish I got both sides of every transaction. I don't. I'd be lying to you if I said that tactic worked all the time. It doesn't. I do get it significantly more than most, so it's usually somewhere between 15 and 20% that I'm able to get both sides, but I'd be disingenuous if I told you that it worked every time. It doesn't. But I can tell you that what I do is highly effective, and it's totally different than your experience. So the number that I called you on, is it your cell phone?
This is my cell, yes.
Okay, cool. So when we get off the phone, I'm going to text you my contact information so that you have it. You are 100% right. You're definitely going to get bombarded with phone calls from realtors today, which by the end of the day, you're probably going to hate realtors if you don't already. Just save my number in your phone.
Let me tell you what
Yeah.
Yeah, this is your number is 561-516-2442.
You got it.
Okay. What I'm not going to do is talk to all the other realtors because they have no interest in really trying to, talk about the same issue. It's just lucky that you called me when you did. I was just getting ready to go, and I saw it was a 561 number. I wasn't sure whether it was business or not. Hang on, my wife wants to say something.
Sure.
And it was really interesting when they kept trying to lower our house. First they said we would definitely be able to sell it at 600. We had it at 629, so we lowered it to 595.
Yep.
And long story short, when this one came up, there's a new comp, okay, for 649 that sold in Deer Creek Run, I think it is. I can get it for you, but
I'll find
they
it.
couldn't even find. I had to find it. They couldn't even find my comp.
Wow.
I mean, and then I was with my girlfriend, and she was battling with me about the price. And I said, my house all day long is worth $589. We had a house down the street though for $615, another one for $595. The one next door to us was $780. I mean, you come in our home and it's gorgeous. I mean, yeah, it's two floors now. Okay, so I'm just saying.
I know, but I didn't want you to do something.
Okay.
I'd always be glad.
But it's just that. Oh, I couldn't find it. On iPad, I had to find it.
Right, she's just illustrating the incompetence that I basically was dealing with and doing it. So I hired him. It's my fault. I mean, I interviewed him, so I have to accept the fact that that was my hire. So as it turned out. But with you talking to me, actually just hearing your voice, the professional, the way you're going at it, your experience, your background, all that, very interested in it. If you know Deer Creek very well, that would be very interesting to me. So, and a person is worth their wares or selling. I don't mind the fee. I mean, that's fine. Never did. But she brought me this last buyer, and the buyer offered me $5.25, and she was upset that I didn't take it.
Now that's crazy.
That's. I was like, why are you doing that? Okay, I'm already down from 629 and 630 at one point, and I had one realtor, the older lady, she tried to the 670. She goes, oh no, your house is worth 670. 780 was the comp next door. She goes, that's the price. And I kept saying, man, if you could get that'd be great, but I don't think that's worth it. She kept telling me, oh no, it is. The old lady's been around here forever. So we bought that song for a little while, and I think we were overpriced for too long. And so there's been just a general mistake after mistake, and that was never marketed properly. So, it's a little this, a little that. But I think it will sell. It just needs a perfect market. And from hearing what you said, I didn't realize that that's where it was with the MLS. And you think I would, but I didn't really look at it that hard.
What would we know?
Good, but I just didn't. I just said, is it on the MLS? And I just assumed they did it.
You said you was doing Facebook, and I don't want to bore him.
So, well, the funny thing is, anybody can say anything, and the reality of it is, if they take a picture and post it on their Facebook, they can say they're doing Facebook marketing. What we do is, and there is some value in that, but what we do is completely different. So we're actually going out there. We're paying to boost our marketing to get it literally everywhere. And again, with technology being the way it is, which I can tell you that the old battle axe that's in Deer Creek doesn't do any of this. She doesn't even know what it is. And I don't mean that negatively. It's just a fact.
No, it's okay. I get it. She is exactly that.
Yeah. So she doesn't have access to these tools. And, that's no fault. Whatever. It is what it is. But I can tell you, we will get, first of all, your house absolutely should have sold. No questions asked. I've already looked at the pictures. I've done my own. I can tell you why it hasn't sold, and I can also tell you we'll sell it. So here's what I'd like to do, okay? And here's my proposal. When we get off the phone, I'm going to run an analysis. I'll email that to you. Again, I don't know. I suspect that the pricing issue we can come to an agreement on once we do the analysis. I don't believe it probably needs to be, well, 525 sounds insane to me, but let me refresh the pricing, look at it with a new set of eyes. I'll be 100% honest with you and forthcoming, and we can go from there on that. What I'd really like to do is lay eyes on the property and meet with you and see if it's something we think we can get you multiple offers on. Now, it sounds like you're booked for today. Do you have availability tomorrow afternoon or evening?
So we're going to be over there for, I'm going through an inspection on a home that I'm purchasing over there that starts at 10:30. I've got to be there by noon, and then I won't be back here probably until like 4 o'clock today.
Tomorrow afternoon or evening, and I'm just doing the attic.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it then tomorrow afternoon. What time do you want to do it?
Whatever, I'm just doing the attic, so.
Okay. What time is good for you?
So I've got an appointment at noon already. I could meet you tomorrow at 4 if that works.
All right, that works. Let's do 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Perfect.
Meet you at the house.
Super. Okay.
And, when you send me the email, your name and telephone number, and I'll be on what you're going to send.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do this a variety of ways. So the first thing I'm gonna do when we get off the phone is I'm going to text you my contact information. Save it in your phone. In there, you'll have access to my phone, my email, my Facebook, everything else that's out there. In the email that I send, it'll have links to everything else. So you'll be able to connect with me any way you want to. I'm very visible online, so if you just Google my name, you'll probably see hundreds of different content pieces. But what I'll do, here's my commitment to you. I will text you all of my information now, save it. I'll do the analysis with a refreshed set of eyes. We'll go over that tomorrow, but you can review it obviously on your own tonight. And then I'll look forward to meeting you tomorrow at 4.
Appreciate it. Call was good, so I appreciate that a lot. And I'll see you then at 4 o'clock.
Now I have one question. I have one question before we get off the phone.
Yes.
When I do sell the property and I get you more money than you ever thought possible, will you do an amazing testimonial and tell everybody what a great job I did?
I would definitely do that. You would have, when that's done, I would have no problem doing. I've done that before in other parts of my business. So for folks to go above and beyond, absolutely, for sure.
Outstanding. I really do appreciate that. So I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Good luck today. You're out there and you're going to Boca Grande, right?
Yeah, I'm going over there. Actually, see, all this was supposed to work out with this house sold, and then I was going to go ahead and get that house over there that I was buying. But now with all the crap that went down, obviously I can't do that now. So now I have to procure the house in a different manner than I was going to do it, which kind of upsets me. But I can still purchase it. I just can't do it the way I really wanted to. So I got to go get other dollars out of other areas to go pay for it.
Right.
And so if you'd have heard the sale part, you would have kind of done what I done. You would have set up the dominoes because they wanted us out quickly. We had to prepare for a place to go really fast. I had to go rent something near my office, blah, blah, blah. And because of what they said, we want your furniture, we want this. You could have heard it. It was like, this is the done deal. Like, you put $75,000. So it was crazy. I mean, I don't understand the whole idea. My realtor just misrepresented the whole process to the buyer as well as to us, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, that won't happen
All
with
right.
me.
Well,
All right.
thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. I'll have this out to you here. As the analysis I'll have out to you by tonight. The text I'll have to you here shortly, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 4. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hey, have a great day. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.
I appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
To close this so I can use another one. So I can color.
Yeah, give me the marker. Boom. So that's how we do it. From a fuck off to an appointment with a great. That is a great. Dude, do you want this? Do you want to give me a different one and I'll take the cap off? You can color with the red one. This is blue, but it's got a green top. It tricks you. They try to trick you. Are you? Come here. Come here. Did you paint your nails? Did you? Let me see your nails. Let go. Let me show me. I want to show them your nails. You're coloring your nails. That's a very nice job. But do me a favor. No more coloring your nails, okay? It's a little bit of a mess.
This is Trish and David, and we want to talk to you a little bit about Chris. Chris has been somebody that was great for us to be able to have as our realtor. In fact, I've tried to get rid of the house for about 2 years, and it's a wonderful home. It was our original house when we were married here. It was very important that we had somebody that we could sell it to, actually, that we thought would really enjoy it. After 2 years of using 4 different realtors, I believe, Chris came along right after our contract had expired, a realtor before, and called me on the phone very, very early in the morning. As a matter of fact, I was getting a lot of calls at the time after that, and he was right on spot on what we needed to do when I talked to him that morning. And so, having been dismayed with a lot of different realtors, Chris impressed me when I talked to him on the phone. In fact, my company's in real estate business and commercial side, and I deal with a lot of different folks, but he was very impressive on the phone. So he come by, we talked, and what did he do? He sold our house a lot sooner than we thought. We were very happy with it, and I know that for Trish, it was very important to her because she was married here, and you know how women are with their homes.
Yeah. Pretty bittersweet, but it is sold, and we have gone through, as my husband said, a lot of realtors. And I have to tell you, Chris has been tremendous at things that worry me. First thing is, he came up with the idea of, let's do a lockbox. Well, my first inclination was, no, I'm not doing a lockbox, I'm not doing a lockbox. And he goes, just trust me, let's see how this works. I'll be in communication with you. He was so communicative with us. We have a very busy life. We have a dog that lives with us, and we can't have showings when the dog's here alone while we're out, working or have appointments. And there wasn't one time that Chris did not work within my schedule, reschedule someone, and ensured that the person never missed the showing, which was so important. And then right after, he would call me and say, well, I think this one's good, or they're not interested at all. He knew he could temperature check people better than I've ever seen in any realtor. So I was quite impressed with his delivery method, very impressed with how smooth this transition has gone with the people that are purchasing our home. I mean, it's been absolutely wonderful. And he's actually sold it to people that are very excited to be in our home, and that makes me very, very excited because it's bittersweet.
Well, let me see if I can sum this up for you. If you're looking at this on the internet, if there's anything that you take away from what we're talking about here, is that you want a real, straight, honest guy that can deal with the man of the house and the woman of the house and the folks who are going to buy your property and pull it all together and make a deal. Hire Chris.
It's
You're
Chris.
gonna get it done. I'm not getting paid for this.
No.
Nobody's giving me any money.
I didn't even get a bottle of wine.
Yeah. So we were just that impressed, and we're glad to be able to talk to you about Chris. And so don't give it a second thought. Give him a shot and let him sell your house like he did for us.
And he did it in 2 months, 3 months?
3 months, yeah.
And it's done. So, yeah, Chris is your guy.
Very